Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. r/ask Reddit by Planet Reddit. What's your favorite random fact? Asparagus grows so quickly during the spring, up to 10 inches in one 24-hour period, or almost half an inch per hour, that you could literally sit and watch it grow were you so inclined, or that bored. I'm so inclined my asparagus is growing upside down. I sure wish I knew this when quarantine started. Certain asparagus ferns grow even faster than this when producing new fronds, and you can watch them reach their tendrils out, looking for a support or for light, and only once they find the right spot will they push out their leaves. Super cool, but also pretty freaky to look at your houseplants and see them in new positions every few minutes and like much longer. Slugs like to eat rat poison. It's like candy to them and it isn't poisonous to them. Depending on the type of poison, rat poison is just Coumadin, a common blood thinner used in medicine, or an anticoagulant. The main method of death by anticoagulant is by internal hemorrhaging, bleeding to death internally. Coumadin is an anticoagulant. You're saying the same thing. There were more planes destroyed in World War II than there are planes on Earth today. Hitler also had a mistress on the side that may or may not have been man. SMH. World War II was on a whole other level of insanity. There's a video called The Fallen of World War II Inches. I recommend watching it, but if you can't, at a certain point, the narration stops and the death count starts. It divides the death count by nation, and each nation into military and non-military casualties as a direct result of the war. I don't think it includes the figure of 6 million Jews and another 4 million minorities, homosexuals, gypsies that died from executions, concentration camps, but I could be wrong. Either way, it adds to each column about 1,000 deaths per second of video. Each country plays out in a few seconds. UK getting hit hard. Same with France, but then Soviet Union plays. It takes a good couple minutes to complete the bar for Soviet Union, and it towers over everyone else. Most of these were civilian deaths due to starvation from the military's scorched earth tactics. It was truly breathtaking in the worst possible way when I first saw it. It truly is a whole other level of insanity. Edit. After watching it again, the part I'm talking about is strictly military deaths. Soviet Union has more than every other country combined, including Germany. Remove Soviet Union, and Germany seems to have about as many casualties as every other country combined. That's just mind-boggling levels of death and destruction to me. 1946 in Moscow would have been a great time to be a single guy. The Muppets singing Bohemian Rhapsody with the first 1080p video on YouTube. Here's the video for convenience, youtube.com link. However, it's more fun to watch the side-by-side comparison someone put together, youtube.com link. Wearing two condoms on tops of one another does not increase safety. Dolly Parton. They also drink out sweat. I went to the rainforest and as multiple butterflies stand on me to drink the sweat drips. TBH, if butterflies weren't so pretty to humans they'd be frickin' terrifying, and they kinda are if you look at them up close for too long. Alexander the Great once built a permanent bridge to an island just because he was upset when they laughed at his offer for surrender on their part because he couldn't get there. Tyre, in Lebanon. Fascinating. I never knew about that. Well written too. I believe they also insulted his mother, though I could be wrong. Everyone in the world has held Thegital of being the youngest person in the world. It'll take my Jiddle back at SummerSlam. Stone cold. Stone cold. Bar gourd. Russia is bigger than Pluto. Another random fact. Russians are taught not to smile in school and are encouraged to only drink vodka. Russia also has some of the hottest women in the world. Had to Google this to make certain. Kinda understand why Pluto was declassified as a planet, but damn it, IT the principal. Viva LA Pluto. We can't forget its largest moon, Charon. It's so big that it's mutually tightly locked with Pluto. That is, they both have the same side, always face each other. Like how our moon is tightly locked to Earth, and the barycenter is actually located in space outside of Pluto. It was almost reclassified to being a double dwarf planet with Pluto back in the zeros. Pluto is my least favorite Kuiper belt object. Banging your head against a wall for 1 hour burns 150 calories. Rubbing one out only burns 70. This seems highly inefficient considering smoking a single cigarette burns 10 calories. It's all about working those muscles in the forehead and losing them at the same time. Babies don't have kneecaps for the first 4 years of their life. My patella feels weird now. As a person who suffers from patella maltracking, I can't even imagine a moment where we don't have it and it doesn't hurt. Babies also have a hole in their head top of the skull, the bones aren't quite fully formed. Otters hold hands while they sleep. That's my favorite fact cause it's just so adorable. Otter pops do not contain any otter in them at all. Also, part of the proceeds went to saving otters during a period of time in the 1990s. That sounds like something we all needed to hear. Yes, it's so cute. They do that so they won't drift apart. Or, in the production of the 2014 Godzilla movie, the sound designers played Godzilla's roar through a whole lot of concert speakers and they got noise complaints from 3 miles away about people thinking there was an earthquake. Godzilla also inspired the creators of Rugrats to make Rata. Imagine hearing a frickin' roar like that. The Kaiju fan be like, finally the day has come. Norway and North Korea are separated by one country. Japan was occupied by Britain after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Okay, I am from Norway and now I am scared of an invasion or something. Except the country is Russia, so. And Russia is bigger than Pluto. The Russians are taking over Ukraine as they think they can bring more prosperity to their country's economy. No, you're full of shit. Also, people swallow a cup of boogers daily. It's quite nice if you add a dash of milk. Dolphins rape sharks. That's why the Japanese round them up once a year to skewer them. They believe it increases their testosterone. And cows kill more people every year than sharks. Cow don't kill many sharks. r/technical if the truth. It's worse than that. Gay dolphins gang rape males from other species of dolphin. Also, they have been known to attempt to suck the victim's blowhole. During the Cold War, an American condom company was shipping, well, condoms to the USSR, but they switched the sizes so that, for example, a XL size was labeled under medium on the box so that the Russians would think Americans had big DS. Maybe the Russians were just experiencing shrinkage cause of the Cold War. The Russian population certainly experienced a shrinkage during World War II. There's over 200 dead bodies on Mount Everest that haven't been retrieved. Instead, they serve as markers for the hikers. Go up until you see Michael, and turn right on one leg Johnny, then continue straight until two finger Mike and turn right and continue until you find no head Joey. That's how get to the kitchen tent. Now never ever, no matter what happens, never ever never pass no arms John. And if you're getting hungry and out of snacks, swing by Big Butt Bob. A group of owls is called a parliament. A group of cats is a nuisance. A group of Karens is called a privilege. Take that back or I'll speak to your manager. In terms of time, Cleopatra lived closer to us than she did to the building of the pyramids. Also, woolly mammoths still roamed the earth when the pyramids were built. Crazy. Similarly, the twin obelisks, both known as Cleopatra's Needle, that stand in London and New York, were over 1,000 years old when Cleopatra was born. Heard this one 100 times. Never fails to amaze me. The word factoid means something that's like a fact, but isn't. The correct word for a fun little fact should be facted. Yes, I'm a prescriptivist occasionally. Which means that it's usually more correct than the speaker intends. There is at least 1 terabyte of genetic information per male ejaculation. Good thing it's small enough to fit in the USB port. The word goodbye evolved from the short form of God be with ye that an author named Gabriel Harvey used in a letter in 1573. Is this a similar event in Spanish? Dios. There used to be 3 staple seasonings for tables in ye olden days: salt, pepper, and nobody knows. Table sets from back then have been found with 3 containers consistently, but no one ever bothered to write down what was in the third one. BC? Common knowledge, right? What idiot wouldn't know what to put in the third container? Us apparently. Just another random bit of knowledge lost through the ages. My vote is nutmeg. Those crazy bastards put nutmeg on everything. Yep, I think this is probably correct. A lot of recipes from the 18th and earlier centuries we have include nutmeg, either in cooking or added later. From savory to sweet dishes, from roasted meats to chilled soups, you could put that shit on anything. It was the Frank's hot sauce of the era, although, to be fair, it is surprising all the things nutmeg actually does complement if you try it. Another possibility is some form of garam prota ketchup, similar to Asian fish sauce. Garam was a fermented fish sauce that was added to a lot of dishes in Roman era and on, though it seems to have fallen out favor by the High Middle Ages, although that is when ketchup starts, not the one with tomatoes. That was a later post-Columbian exchange dish, but a sauce that combined vinegar, salt, and a variety of vegetables, often cooked, mashed, or minced. One example is mushroom ketchup that ends up tasting an awful lot like a mix of Worcestershire sauce and soy sauce, though without the light citrus peel flavor from the former. Edit. Garam, not garam masala. The phrase hands down comes from horse racing and refers to a jockey who is so far ahead that he can afford drop his hands and loosen the reins, usually kept tight to encourage a horse to run, and still easily win. Source. The nothingness of a black hole generates a sound in the key of B flat. The first guy that discovered this fact had to be sharp enough to understand black holes. I can totally see that. They should be natural more. Tomato is a vegetable and a fruit. Vegetables is a culinary term while fruits are botanical. Edit. The age-old question actually has an answer. It's both. Tomatoes are fruits that are considered vegetables by nutritionists. Botanically, a fruit is a ripened flower ovary and contains seeds. Tomatoes, plums, zucchinis, and melons are all edible fruits. But things like maple helicopters and floating dandelion puffs are fruits too. For some reason, people got hung up on tomatoes, but the fruit or vegetable question could also work for any vegetable with seeds. Now, nutritionally, the term fruit is used to describe sweet and fleshy botanical fruits, and vegetable is used to indicate a wide variety of plant parts that are not so high in fructose. In many cultures, vegetables tend to be served as part of the main dish or side, whereas sweet fruits are typically snacks or desserts. Thus, roots, tubers, stems, flower buds, leaves, and certain botanical fruits, including green beans, pumpkins, and of course tomatoes, are all considered vegetables by nutritionists. There is no hard and fast rule that clearly designates a botanical fruit as a vegetable, but, given that tomatoes are generally not used in dessert and are closely related to other fruit vegetables, for example, eggplants and peppers, it is not too counterintuitive for tomatoes to be classified as vegetables, so go ahead and call a tomato whatever you want. It's super tasty either way, but you can dare make a toothpaste out of it. Knowledge is knowing tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. Edit. A word after u/PM your fav feature pointed it out. And spitefulness is putting it in anyway, so no one can enjoy the BBQ. Charisma is being able to sell fruit salad with tomato in it. Napoleon died on the loo. List of people who died on the toilet for anyone interested. Thank you for your gracious gift. Almost died in Waterloo too. There existed a natural nuclear reactor in Africa 2 billion years ago, and 30 kilometers from the site of the reactor were found the oldest fossils of animals, also aged of 2 billion years ago. There doesn't appear to be any link though. Do you have a name of the place? Oklo Mine, Gabon. Your lungs are not symmetrical. The right has 3 lobes and the left has 2. That lack of lobe on the left lung creates a space in the chest cavity for the heart. Nice follow-up fact, my fellow lung enthusiast. Also, our lungs, if flattened, would be the same size as a tennis court. They are huge. It's extremely random and weird, but male giraffes will headbutt a female in the bladder until she urinates. Then it tastes the pee to help it determine whether or not the female is ovulating. Dwight, is that you? Before was is. Did you just answer your own question, bro? Wow, that takes balls. Elephants' brains react the same way looking at humans as humans do looking at puppies. Unfortunately, this is one of those made up facts that sounds correct. That's adorable. No, we're adorable. For elephants at least. Cows are best friends. My ex sure did. A toddler can ask up to 76 questions an hour. Why? Shut up and eat your French fries. Why? You might be drinking water older than the solar system. You might be older than the solar system. Your particles at least. In Africa every 60 seconds a minute passes. We have to do something about that. So certain millipedes secrete cyanide as a protective mechanism to kill predators. However, lemurs are immune to this lethal effect and instead intentionally provoke millipedes to get them to excrete cyanide. The lemurs do this because instead of killing them, the cyanide produced by the millipedes gets them high, and I think they can also use it as insect repellent. TLDR. Lemurs eat millipedes cyanide to get high. I will always mention this whenever someone asks for a random fact. It blows my mind, considering an average person gives birth to an offspring at the age of 25 in a 100-year period. That is 4 generations. So, if you consider from 0 CE to 2020 CE, it is just 80 mothers down the line. Even more interesting is, if we consider that the earliest known humans that roamed the planet were around 10,000 BCE, it is only around 480 mothers later. We are a strong 7 billion. The common European pigeon has 2 long-range bird calls, a 3-note woo 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 that is a bar of 5/4, and a 5-note woo 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 that is a bar of 17/8. For 25 years, I believe that this sound is made by owls. A few weeks ago I was looking at a pigeon when it made this call, and felt stupid. Astronomer here. Magnetars are a type of neutron star, the core of a giant dead star where a ball of neutrons the mass of the sun are crammed into a 20 km/12 mi radius that have the most extreme magnetic fields we know of in the universe. How extreme? Well, if you got within 1,000 kilometers 620 miles of one, the magnetic field itself would kill you by basically pulling the electrons out of your very atoms. Space is so cool. Join our community Discord, link in description. There is approximately 2 meters of DNA packed into the average human cell. That means there is approximately 20 billion kilometers of DNA in the average adult human body, conservatively estimating 1013 cells in the body. For reference, that is 66 round trips between Earth and the Sun. A tardigrade can survive at 1 degree Kelvin for a few minutes, can also go to outer space and be fine. Other fun fact, tardigrades are way cuter when you look at actual microscope pictures of them and not those weird 3D renders. They go from really odd weird things strange mouths to just little dudes eating some moss. Those weird 3D renders, those are typically pictures from electron microscopes. Otters have a favorite pebble. They keep it in a pocket-like fold in their fur and use it to break open shells. That an aneurysm can kill you any second. Gee, I don't know, Cyril. Maybe deep down I'm afraid of any apex predator that lived through the KT extinction, physically unchanged for 100 million years, because it's the perfect killing machine. A half-ton of cold-blooded fury, the bite force of 20,000 newtons, and stomach acid so strong it can dissolve bones and hoofs. The silent killer, Lana. Antarctic is classified as a desert because of the fact that it has limited rainfall. Lack of precipitation is also the only factor in whether something is a desert or not. Temperature and sand are not relevant. People calculated the speed of light 250 years before people figured out that the universe is larger than our galaxy. If you have a group of 70 random people, there are a 99.9% chance that 2 of them have the same birthday, and with only 23 people there are a 50% chance that at least 2 individuals in the group have the same birthday. My first college roommate had the same birthday as me. 7 years later, my upstairs neighbor and a lady who lives in the next building, we have mutual friends, also shares my birthday. Coincidence? Coincidence? No. I orchestrated it so you get to experience the best joint birthday parties. There's no guarantee of the universe remaining in existence after 10 seconds. Buzz Aldrin's maternal grandparents were Mr. and Mrs. Moon. The hashtag symbol is called an octothorpe. It's not my favorite, but I just learned this today. Whales don't die of old age. They just become weaker and weaker until they do not have the strength to pull themselves up to the surface. From there, they drown to death. Sounds like dying of old age to me. Nobody actually dies of old age, it's just cause related to being old. Snails like adventures, a change of scenery. They also like pets on the shell. You can't hum while holding your nose. I read you can't come while holding your nose first and got really excited to try it out. Keep us updated. So I tried it and, well, it worked. It just felt kinda weird and wasn't as good as usual. But, you can in fact come while holding your nose. If you water it grows. Cucumbers are berries, biology wise. There are more gay animals than gay humans. It'll change this. You gonna make a sheep straight? Getting a kidney transplant doesn't mean you lose the first one. It just means that surgeons install a third organ for you. Most people have more than the average number of arms. Not my favorite, just the fact that haunts me. According to QI, sheep V is the closest to human. The Welsh came up with that study, didn't they? Peer reviewed by New Zealand. Florida is the only place in the world where crocodiles and alligators coexist in the wild. The first Game Boy was also the first gaming handheld running on 60 frames per second. The movie Clue is set in New England in the year 1954, as given by the opening credits. However, an easy to miss detail can be used to narrow down the exact date of the film. In the opening, after Wadsworth speaks to Yvette, he enters the kitchen to speak to Mrs. Ho the cook. While doing so, she's got a television turned on in the background, and on the screen is the famous "Have you no sense of decency?" speech given to Senator McCarthy of the House Un-American Committee. This speech was given on the 9th of June, 1954. We know more about space than we know about the ocean. You know the fact that a person eats 8 spiders in their sleep in their lifetime? The creator of the fact just experimented how fast will the information spread. Pandas can poop up to 28 kilograms of poo a day. The dictator of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Joseph Desire Mobutu, implemented a policy called Zirianization, where names were changed to be more African. This included renaming the capital from Leopoldville to Kinshasa, the country from Congo to Zaire, and Joseph Desire Mobutu to Mobutu Sese Konkunkun Bendu Wazabanga. In Bandi, it means the all-powerful warrior who, because of his indomitable will to win, goes from conquest to conquest, leaving fire in his wake. That MLK and Anne Frank were born on the same year. Female fish will often fake orgasms so they can get a better partner. Wombats shit in cubes. I too shit in a cube. Where I'm from, we call them bathrooms. The T-Rex lived closer in time to humans than it did to the Stegosaurus that it's often portrayed as fighting. The hippo's milk is pink. Drinking too much water can kill you. Dr. Seuss cheated on his wife when she was dying of breast cancer, and when she found out, she killed herself. A not so very fun fact, but it happened. Every 60 seconds a child falls down the stairs. That Norway sends the UK a Christmas tree every year to thank them for their help in World War II. Coffee beans are really seeds. Semen fertility is hereditary, and if your parents don't have a baby, chances are that neither will you. Anglerfish breeding. Once the male finds a suitable mate, he bites into her belly and latches on until his body fuses with hers. Their skin joins together, and so do their blood vessels, which allows the male to take all the nutrients he needs from his host mate's blood. The two fish essentially become one. The male fish becomes a ball sack on the female body. Mentalfloss.com link. When two galaxies merge together, there's an almost 100% chance that nothing will collide due to the enormity of space between them. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for 3 videos a day.